Hi everyone. In this video, I would like to show you some of the projects. Um, when you're selecting your objects for your diorama project, you need to consider a few things, especially whether your printer, whether our 3D printer can print out successfully. Then even though it can be printed out, I always say that try not to use those kind of objects because at your level you may not be able to take it out properly. Okay, what I mean is you are not able to take out. Let me show you some of these example. I will say do not select this because when I print it out for you, yes, the object will be in perfect shapes, but when you got the object, you need to remove the support. Some of these are requiring, some of these objects require very precise and careful removal of the objects. Let me removing of the support. Let me show you. Okay, this is one uh, project. If you probably at the age of your parents, probably they know that there is one animation called the Dragon Ball. Yeah, this is a dragon. You can see how thin is it. Um, uh, when I removed this, I actually was very careful and using a knife to remove instead of just pluck it out. Okay, you need to cut. Okay, sometimes you even need to use a scissors to cut it. Uh, so that it will not damage it. You can easily damage this. So you can see how thin is this. Okay, just slightly thicker than our hair, maybe about 10 hairs. And then you can see we got the background. We got this background. Um, then we have the so-called the dragon balls. So you can see this is one of the sample that is very hard for you to remove because if you print this kind of dragons, you will have a lot of support to support the dragon, and once you are not careful, you will damage the object and then you will not nice anymore. No matter how many times you reprint, if you are not you doesn't have the skills to remove that, you always damage that objects. Okay, so I don't recommend to choose something that is so thin. Okay, so let's look at other sample. Second sample is this one. This one is a game near automata. um, so you can see the part that is difficult, of course, is the sword. Okay, originally it was okay. After I placed here for some time, it was broken, but I managed to stick it back. And you can imagine, you can look at the finger of these characters, they are so thin. Okay, of course this is printed with resin. Even though it's printed out with resin, we still need some support. So removing the support from these tiny objects is very difficult. Okay, so try to avoid this one. Why I showed you is because it is possible to print out, but whether it is possible for you to remove the support, that is another challenge. Um, of course, this is another sample, easier. Okay, I painted this also. Um, you can see this is Totoro. Probably you watched the animation before. Mm, when you do a diorama of Totoro, of course, I believe that you will create the other two Totoro, which are smaller one. Then you may want to choose the bus, or the girl that actually carrying the brother. Okay, so that is one. You can place them on a square platform, or in this case, I wouldn't recommend a square platform. I would recommend a round or oval shaped platform to place these objects on it if you choose to put the Totoro family. Okay, this is one sample of diorama, and you can see that it's not so easy. But if you want to challenge, this is also possible because if you just do the three Totoro, the only difficult one is this one, which has an umbrella. So the umbrella will be printed separately. So that is why when I create your blackboard, I put it there. Do not submit everything in one piece. You show me first before you submit, and then I will tell you which subject you need to separate out. Because if you don't separate out, you will get a printout of maybe a square shape, something like a square shape full of support. And when you remove the support, all will damage. Yeah? All these beautiful parts will damage. So we have to print the umbrella separately. Then we print the Totoro separately, and then later you need to make a hole on the hand so that we print out the umbrella and put it on its hand. Okay. There are more complicated types. Like for example, this is the I think probably you've seen this object before, and this to print this is really not not easy. So strongly not recommend to use a complicated object. But I just want to show you that everything is possible to print out. It's just that, as I always say, is you need to spend a lot of time. Not recommend for primary school. So when you are in a secondary school, you really want to challenge. Then let me see what is your idea. If I would look at it and tell you whether it is possible or not. Some of it is not really possible. Okay, then I'll tell you that. Looking at uh, looking at the complexity of the object, it will be too difficult for you. Then I will tell you. Okay, so you select your own topic first. One of the topic that I will go through later on, I will show you how to create is maybe a room. Okay, when you create this is also an object not really recommend, but if you really want to, then we try to select a chair that has not that doesn't have so many. Um, you see, this is called the floating parts. So the floating part you cannot print the floating part without support. Okay, unless you break it, this one piece, the sitting area one piece, two more pieces, so you break the chair into four pieces, print it out and assemble. That which is very complicated. uh, but I means that look at your design first. If you can choose something that, let's say, instead of putting this chair, why not you put a sofa, or you put a round chair, another type of chair, which is easier to print. It will save you trouble because this is not that easy to assemble. One more level higher, let's look at this one. Diorama of definitely I'll show in the class. So this one is the video. So you can create a diorama of a room. And of course, these are the hanging objects. Uh, we do have the character. The character. It was damaged already because I printed out this one a few years back. So this is something not easy to, but it's still possible. That if you really choose to have something like this, you need to understand that this object have to be assembled. So it's not a simple one that can be printed out in one piece. Okay, so to make it easier, try to go for those objects that can be, uh, each object can be printed out in one piece, so you don't have to assemble it. Okay, we do have something that's more complicated because you may want to think about you may think of why not I create animation character. uh, Animation character are not that easy. So if you look at you can find these 3D objects. I have printed one before. This one is Hatsune. This is a Vocaloid, and they call it Vocaloid, which is a virtual singer. Okay, this is one of the model. I think it's 2005. Hatsune is at the racing car racing scene. Okay, so all these are exactly the same model. I have printed one before, so that is not that easy, because at the end all the small parts, like the top of the head, easily broken, including the hair. The hair is a bit thick, so it is either you get it right at the first time, or if you're not careful, you break the hair. So it's not something that can be done easily. It's very challenging. Okay. If you look at the objects, some of the objects are easier. Okay. This you can also find a lot of characters. This one is the art, sort of art. I think is sort of art or something like that. SOA. You to type SOA, you can find the characters. There are a few characters. This one is called YUI. I think that is her name. Okay. Also not that easy. um, if the objects can be broken down, okay, if the objects can be broken down, then you can print. Okay, if it's one piece, I don't recommend. For example, if you look at uh, this one is the near automata. They do have some 3D STLs objects. I think there are more than 30 parts just to print out. Then definitely that is too difficult. Try not to go for that because you have 30 almost 30 students in your class, and I have 30 projects to print. I cannot allocate 20 hours to print one person's object. So I will have to look at the complexity of your object when you are doing your design. Okay, always show me first. And the most this is okay. This is something more. Of course, you this is the parts are purchased one, uh, and then it takes long time to build. I also don't recommend. Also, what do I suggest? If you look at this one, they have very small parts. It can easily take you half a year to assemble this one. What we are going to do is we don't have to finish everything. We can just choose one of the room to design. Okay, that's why. Of course, I think I can show you during the lesson again about this model. You just need to think about one of the room. Um, no need to design everything. Okay, so I think these are some of the thing I want to show you, just to be more careful when you're selecting your object. Some of the object are very difficult to remove the support. So we can print out, but when you remove the support, you damage the object, and then your diorama will not looks good. Okay, I will show you one simple, a few ways of, because I told you to search Thingiverse. So I will record, I have another video to show you how to have ideas. So next stage is to have ideas. As for now, I want to show is things that you need to consider when selecting an object. Think about whether you can print it out, because this part you need to understand your technology. We are using FDM printer. Okay, uh, this filament depository machine, something like melting a plastic. After that, the plastic come out from the print head, and then you make the plastic by make your object by moving the platform, or moving the print head. FDM printer. Uh, the other types, we are using, well, okay, sorry. This is one just printed out using resin. I think you can see the dragon also using resin. Resin printer are definitely a lot better, but they also have its own disadvantage. Okay, uh, they are not so big. I don't have a big resin printer, but one thing good is very detailed. So it is an option. If you really have a very good design in this diorama project, I will have a look. If your design is good, it's only have one or two objects that you need a precise printing, we can go ahead. We can go ahead with this. So, for example, now very popular is Nerja 2. If you have probably you search or you access to internet, you probably will look at um, heard about this animation from China. Now it's very hot. So I also printed out one object, but I haven't paint yet. They have many colors, so I need to paint it instead of printing it out. I think I paint with hand will be better. So if you want to do a diorama project of Nerja 2, uh, then you show me probably one character, but other scene are standard. Maybe you look at the background is a house, the China's type. You have a house, then you put Nerza in here. You have a well, or you have something that occupy the scene. Huh? Try not to make it too empty. As I told you that your scene supposed to have 3 or 4 different objects. Okay, other than whether you want to have the background is optional. Okay, it's optional. You can just have the floor, and you can have objects without having a wall. So it's really depending on your design. Show me first, so that I can give you a proper suggestion. Okay, thank you.